Welcome to the darkness.
Good evening and welcome to Creme de la Cringe.
Hey everyone. I seriously love that name.
I know, so do I. You came up with it. You ought to. It is the best name ever. We're taking the cringe tonight. We're going real cringy. Real cringy.
Hey, I'm excited.
Yeah.
Like
it's been a while.
And I don't know, guys.
What's that?
I said I don't know what we're talking about. Colleen found the story. So you're gonna get my real life reaction to it all.
I am. This is a true crime. This is a murder topic. It's a serial killer topic. And it's one that I had not heard of. I had researched this last year and I'm like, oh my God. Like, wow. Oh my God. I had not heard this. And it has pigs in it. So it got my interest because I do raise pigs every year for the freezer, not for the rescue farm. And so anytime there's pigs in a story, I'm like, huh? Because I know how bad they can be. And I'm seriously scared of them.
Like, so I had a grandpa, of course I had a grandpa. My grandpa owned a pig farm in Nevada and it was my mom's dad. So I didn't really know him growing up or anything like that. But I remember one time going to his pig farm, and this is before I even knew that pigs, could devour a human. And it was the creepiest thing to me. I don't know why.
So I only get like 3 or 4 a year. And I'm cognizant that they can take you down. Like it's spooky. I'm sorry.
And especially when you get your little brother to jump in and grab a baby pig. And then the mama pig gets mad.
The sows
And then your dad has to jump in to get your little brother out. Yeah.
Yeah, no.
I mean, he was dumb enough to listen to us. Like, that was kind of his bad. But we learned a very valuable lesson at like 9, 10 years old. Do not put your little brother in with the pig pens.
No. Don't recommend that to anybody, guys. So, all right, here we go. So this is a true murder story out of, this is Port, I hope I say this right, Coquitlam, British Columbia, Canada. So, it is absolutely spectacular up there. If anybody's ever been up, I love British Columbia. It's just one of my favorite places. But this one seriously got to me. And this is the story of a serial killer named Robert Pickton. And most of this information I got from 3 different articles. And one of them, this gentleman named Jack Lasky, he published some information on a website that you can go to and get a bunch of free information called EBSCO. And it's a really cool website with a lot of research on it. But the other article that I took a lot of information from was News Canada, called the Globe and Mail. This is a newspaper. And this article was published, it's by Robert Mattis, and it was published in December 1st, 2007. So I'm going to get into this because I've gotten a lot of this information from different web sources, not some that I'm not citing because I just gleaned a lot of information. But so this takes place, like we said, in Canada. And so I hadn't really heard about it. And I don't know so I'm thinking like 2002-ish, 2003. I'm like, we were all online then. So, or were we? We were.
Kinda. That was when like dial-up was.
Oh, Oh, you're right. Yes.
Because that would have been the time frame that my dad would come home and we would be on the phone talking to our friends. He'd be like, "Get off the phone, because I'm getting on the internet."
That's right. You had
And
the weird tone
yeah,
and the yeah, I
yep.
remember. Yeah. I had
So I mean,
internet.
still in that time frame where we didn't have as wide variety of open news like we
Okay,
do now.
that's right. Yeah, so maybe that's why let's see, I don't even remember where I was living then. I think I was maybe back in Northern California or was in Pennsylvania, but anyway, I don't remember ever reading about this. And when I stumbled across it, because I'm always looking for, gruesome stuff for criminal to cringe, I'm like, ooh, this is gonna be good. So this guy, Robert Pickton, he grows up on a kind of wealthy pig farm, if you can call a pig farm wealthy. So let's get to, he was born in October 24th, 1949, and he was the second of three children. So let's see, Linda, then Robert, then David. And actually, I think further on in my notes, I put David as his older brother, but he's his younger brother. But David seemed to have a little bit more going on. Business wise with the pig farm than Robert did, but Robert definitely was involved in this pig farm. About 1963, the whole family moved to Port Coquitlam in Canada, where they owned this really large pig farm. And I am going to actually show you the Google Maps because I found the address, which is not always easy to do. Google Earth, there we go.
No. How did you find that?
I dug and I dug and I dug. Okay, so this right here is the pig farm property now. Okay, well, now it's completely different, and I'll show you. They actually blocked it out in 2002, the image of the pig farm.
I wonder why.
Well, they'll do that for notorious murder sites on Google Earth because
Okay, that makes sense.
I will because I'm one of those freaks that Google addresses when I hear about something going down, and a lot of times they'll blur out, like, if when they drive by a property and you can see it, they'll
Yeah,
blur it out. But if you go before or after the year of the crime, it's there. So weird, but
that is
anyway,
weird.
just a pointer. If
Okay.
they're
I'm like, that makes sense why I look at some Google images and like some certain years.
Well,
it's
let me
just
show you.
blurred or-
So let's go back 1 year. Let's see. See it blurred?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Then we go forward a year, or not even a year, a few months, and you can see it. Okay. That's because I will tell you what happened. Anyway, the pig farm used to be, I think, this whole block. And it could have been
Wow.
even all of this. I'm not sure. We'll talk about the property here in a minute. Okay, so get back to my notes. So, so his dad buys this big property, and they decide they wanted to raise pigs and some cattle, and they're going to butcher the pigs. And then, I mean, it's a kind of a good market if you raise real high quality pork. It's a good market,
Yeah.
right? So, the kids they worked the farm, and they were primarily raised by mom, whose name was Louise, and I love that name. It was my mom's name, a name of hers, but she wasn't a real mom, motherly, warm, affectionate. She was get your chores done, go to school. I mean, you grow up on a farm, and there's not a lot of time for
Anything.
cuddling. It's get your butt up, go feed, start cleaning, start feeding, start blah blah blah. It's just you.
And
work until
especially
sundown.
in that time frame. I mean, we're looking back in the early 50s and stuff. It was very much so, bam, bam, you do what you're told. That's that. You don't talk back, nothing. Like, and it,
Right.
but from the sounds of it, not that like loving mom of here, let me give you a hug as you
No.
walk out the door. Okay.
She was sounds like a very matter of fact lady. Like she was all work, no play kind of gal. Oops, I have to okay. And one farm, what time the farm had about 700 hogs, and 120 head of cattle. That's a lot of pigs.
That's a lot of pigs.
Well, and I think pigs are not okay. They say they're fairly clean, but it depends on how you keep them, right? I cleaned my pig pen every single day. You know, I made sure they had their little mud hole, but I clean it every single day. And if those of you who are not ever been around pigs, they really stink bad.
Yes.
They have a really nasty odor. 700 of them. Whole.
Ew.
Oh.
I'm like, I can't even handle the smell of a dairy farm. Like, I
Dairy
couldn't
farms don't really
imagine.
bother me that much. Manure doesn't,
Oh.
just doesn't bother me
Dairy
that much.
farms, though, and like ranching farms, they're totally different smell.
Well, it is because it's not as confined. Ranchers,
Yes.
right? Yeah.
But pigs, like 700.
Yeah, I can't
Ew.
even imagine. Ugh.
No.
Anyway, so they grow up, and Robert, he had a lot of responsibilities. So did Dave. I don't know much about the daughter or their sister. I don't know at one point she left the farm, but I'm sure her whole goal in life was get married and get out. You know,
I think females that grow up in that do. They're like, we're good. I'm going. Yeah.
I'm going. I'm out of here. Even if they end up with a ranching family, it's their place. It's different, you know.
Yep.
This place seemed like it was at this time up through the mid 1995-ish or so. It was run very well. Everybody remarked on it was a big piece of property, and people actually brought their kids to ride horses there. So there was like a woodland area, and people could ride through there, and it was just like they didn't have a bad name to them. It was just the pig farm. But
Yeah.
Robert, and this is going to happen, and I don't care who it is. If you're a kid that goes out and slops the hogs first thing in the morning and then goes to school, you're going to smell like pig shit. You just are.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, that's just,
the way it goes.
That's the way it goes. So with me, like I'll go out and feed my animals and then I go to work, but I'll put on my big rubber boots and I go out and I take care of everybody. And then I clean everything at night so that I don't have to go to work smelling like anything. I just feed them all. And then but this is a different scenario. I don't have 700 hogs. Okay.
And a different time frame.
And it's a different time frame, right? And so he wasn't really well liked in school. Obviously, he probably smelled terrible, and the kids didn't want to be around him. Plus, he had some weird quirkiness to him, and people didn't gravitate towards him. I mean, they were very cognizant of him being kind of the weird boy. It did, yeah. And we've all grown up with people like that.
Yeah. I mean, I think we can all think back of like that one kid that we're just kind of like, oh, you're a little bit off. Like,
yeah.
And then especially adding on the pig smell to it. So probably bullied.
Yeah.
I mean,
and as he grew up, he was responsible for taking the barrels of leftover from the slaughtering process to the rendering plant twice a week in these big barrels. So he was known as the pig man. Everybody called him the pig man. So he had some personal hygiene issues. He had some weird quirkiness to him that made him stand out. And then he had the nicknames, and he just didn't develop it didn't sound like he had any social skills. And it was becoming a bad situation pretty quickly. Okay. They were pretty isolated. The whole family was pretty isolated from the community because all they did was work. And that happens with farming and ranching kids is all you do is work. There isn't any time to hang out with your friends after school. You got to go home and work.
Yeah. You don't get to play. You don't get to do sports. You don't get to do any of that. It's work.
Yeah. So it's not sure if he was born with some developmental issues, which he could have been, or if he was somewhat on the spectrum, have no idea. But something led to this. He was on the scale of psychopathy. And then that becomes very clear later on. So he had these tendencies of sociopathic behaviors. And, you know, you
Mm.
got to wonder, in the back of my mind, I'm kind of wondering, before everything happened, is that a product of your environment because you were raised and you're slaughtering animals? And so you're like, whatever. I mean, it's our job.
Yeah, that is a good thought. That's a good theory to it.
I don't know. I mean, I
Because I mean,
can't.
when you're raised at a young age and those core beliefs of like what were installed into us like 10 or like what 7, and you're just watching just slaughter after slaughter after slaughter, does it finally like click something in the head? I mean, obviously not for everybody, but when you're already born, obviously with some kind of issues,
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't
I
know.
mean, I know a lot of people that grew up in the ranching business and you had to, you know, process whatever you're growing, animal wise, and they're not like that. They they had an internal struggle with it, and they also hunt
Yeah.
and they have that internal struggle, but they also need to put food on the plates of Americans, and so, and their families, and there's
And so
that.
like that's the hard part too. And I can understand where you're going with that because like I grew up killing chickens. Like that was just what we did. It was a family thing that grandma would get so many chickens every year. We would do it. It wasn't the funnest thing to do. Like you don't want to go out there and do that, but you have to put food on your table. So I
Yeah.
think for normal, I mean, I don't know really know normal is, but for most people, you don't get that like deranged psychopathic,
No, you're not getting a rush
like
from it. It's like a chore.
no.
You've got to do it and you probably lose sleep. I mean, it's just, I've lost
Yeah.
sleep thinking about, you know, I grow my pigs for a reason, but taking them in, I cry every time. It's just the way it is. I can't, you know, anyway.
Because you
Um,
have empathy.
yeah, exactly. So he developed this kind of personality with psychopathic traits pretty early. But nobody, and still today, we struggle with pointing fingers at people. And I think a whole lot less large scale crime would happen if we had a mechanism in place to say, this person is weird. He's going to do something someday, or she.
Yep.
And we had a way, you know what I'm saying? But,
Yep.
but all of the methods that we have in place for that are always, well, they haven't done anything yet. We have to wait. But
Or
then
we live in a
again,
coddled society of, well, you can't hurt their feelings.
I know. So his mother
And
dies just after his father, like really, really close. I think they both died in 1979 or 1978 and 79. So they both died pretty quickly. And now the boys have to take over the pig farm. And um, this is this is this is really bad for Robert. David's working the farm. He's got his own set of problems here. I mean, none of these boys just aren't completely right. It
yeah.
doesn't sound like. Now, I didn't find a whole lot on Dave other than the criminal behavior that was going on with Robert, and I'll explain some of that. So Dave himself, he's no he's not immune to criminal behavior. He will do whatever it takes to make some money here. And
Okay.
so they were left in charge of the farm, and Robert being the oldest one, he decides he needs to kind of clean up. Like, I need to clean up, I need to find a woman kind of thing. And there's not too many women that want to move into a pig farm like that. And so they were doing a couple of things. One of them was they kind of got rid of a lot of the pigs, but they also, Dave especially, started bringing in junk to the farm. Lots and
Mm.
lots of junk cars, scrap metal. They just had heaps and piles of crap like everywhere. And that, to me, like when I drive into a place and it looks like that, I want out. Get me out.
Yep.
It's, to me, it's the hills have eyes kind of feeling. I need to get out of here, man. I don't like
Oh,
it.
that's great.
You know what I'm saying?
But yes, I can understand that. It just gives off a very, I don't know, chaotic feeling.
Yeah. I had to do inspections when I was in Texas. There was one it's a scrap metal yard. It was a metal yard, a scrap yard that I had to do inspections there and for environmental stuff. And I don't like it because I'm thinking, how easy is it for them to make someone disappear? Like nothing would happen. And the guys were really nice, but it gave me the willies.
But in the back of your head, and especially having the mother that you had growing up, in the back of your head, it
Yeah.
probably was like, well, I know you got that and you got that, and I could probably just disappear and no one would know.
Yeah.
So that makes
anyway,
sense, though.
They turned one of the buildings onto this nasty place. They turned like the slaughterhouse on this nasty farm, which was decent at one time, but it turned nasty, right? Into a bar and nightclub, illegal for pretty much biker gangs and all the ne'er-do-wells to come party and do drugs and sell and do all of this stuff because they knew not too many, the good people of British Columbia aren't driving down this road into this trash heap to go to this disgusting slaughterhouse turned nightclub to party for the night. Your 18-year-old college girls aren't going there.
No. Well, I would hope not.
Yeah. Well, so they're doing these wild parties that would go on for days on end. And they would bring in a lot of ladies of the evening from Vancouver to come in. And all of this is going down, right? So this is going on. Neighbors are complaining about the noise. It's bad. It's really bad. Okay. So at the same time this is going on, Robert starts visiting the east side of Vancouver to visit the ladies of the evening. And when I say this, I have absolutely not one shred of hatred towards women who are doing this, because they're doing it because men are wanting it. And it's money.
Everyone's got to make $1.
Everybody's making $1. So I want, if anybody's listening to this, I do not look down on these gals. I wish there was a way that they didn't have to do this. I wish society was different, but it's not.
Yes.
So they're doing what they're doing to make a buck. Fine. Okay. So let's just get that out front and center, because I'm not talking down about them. These gals that were in this section of town are, the gals that are out working the corners, and they're turning as many tricks as they can. Some of them probably have a drug problem. I don't know. I'm not there. I don't know these gals, but I do know one thing. They all have parents and they all have families.
Yep.
Okay. So, so this guy, Robert, would go through these neighborhoods, and he'd buy companionship for an hour or two. Okay. And sometimes he would bring them back to the farm. Like, he would talk them into coming back to the farm. Okay. So at the same time he's doing this, police started noticing that a lot of these gals are missing from these neighborhoods. Okay. So the trend kind of began with this woman named Lillian O'Dare, 1978. And this went on for over 20 years. These women were disappearing from these neighborhoods where there were sex workers. Okay.
For 20 years?
Yeah, a lot of women. I want to say that it was somewhere like 100. I might come into it in my notes here, but there was, I want to say, in the magnitude of around 100 women who have disappeared. Now, a lot of these women do disappear because they'll go from town to town, city to city, whatever looks better at the time. And they don't really stay in contact with their families, or even if they have kids, they don't stay in contact with their children. So they don't know how many of them actually disappeared and were okay, or how many disappeared and were not okay. So they kind of put together a task force, and this was the Royal Canadian Mounted Police and the Vancouver Police Department in 1978. They did a joint task force and they started investigating all of these disappearances because there was just too many. They were like, this is too many. And Robert Pickton actually was front and center on the list of possible suspects, but there was really nothing to tie him to anything. They had so many men on the list that they're like, we don't have anything conclusive. So they disbanded the task force. They started it in 78 and they disbanded it in 1989 because they didn't make any progress on this. They just could not pin a suspect.
Dang.
Yeah. So they worked a
10
long time.
years.
Yeah.
Is it 10 or 11 years?
10, 12 years.
12
so
years. And they didn't get no.
They really didn't get anywhere, but he was on the list. So he'd made the list, but a lot of men had made the list and they really didn't have anything conclusive. And in the meantime, all these women keep disappearing. And this is before cameras are everywhere, guys.
Yeah.
So now they'd have license plates, they'd have vehicles in every camera, they'd be able to start pinning things down. So in the meantime, this is 1979. Dave I think he has a girlfriend. I'm not sure. Her name is Samantha Howes, and her older sister, they moved in with Dave because they have different trailers on this property. And this is when the place started getting really junked up. And in 1980, like I said, they had completely dropped out of the pig business because I guess the market on pork at that point kind of took a downfall. And so they like, it's not worth the time and the energy to go through this. And that's when they developed the nightclub. And then a girl named Tanya Carr, she was a daughter of a friend of Robert's. And she kind of called him uncle. And that's not unusual. I mean, I have a lot of kids that call me aunt or grandma or whatever, because I'm just friends with their parents. And she ended up moving into Robert's trailer and called, like, he was Uncle Robert from 94 to 95. And she said there was this constant stream of people that came into the yard like every day. And so they were either seeing Dave or they were seeing Robert. They were going to the club. They were trying to steal stuff. They were trying to sell stuff. I mean, it was just this constant barrage of people, and they weren't guys in suits,
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Not saying
They're
the guys
that
that don't wear suits
want.
Yeah, they're not saying the guys in suits are ne'er-do-wells, but I'm just saying.
But we also need to look back at the timing this was. Like in the 90s, it was not hard to pinpoint the groups of people that did what.
True.
I mean, it totally different than how it is now, that it's acceptable to wear like dressed out goth, emo, whatever, and walk down the street. Back then, I mean, I'm thinking the 90s, like, you could kind of always tell, okay, this person runs in this group and this person is in this group.
Yeah. And if you were heavily tatted, it was frowned down upon, where now you can have people that have tats all the way up here and they're making six figures driving a $100,000 Harley.
Right.
And they're a lawyer. Yeah.
Yeah. So totally different.
Totally different now, right? We've come a long way in not being that judgmental, right? So they decided to sell off some land, and they sold in the 1990s. They sold off some of the land for the housing development and school. And again, let me show you that. That's
so they sold it for the housing development and school, but they had an illegal.
Yeah, but they maintain their so all of this. I don't know how big the property was. I'm thinking it was this when I was looking at old newspaper images. I think it was this rectangle, and they sold off everything from here up. So here's the school, houses. They may have even had this chunk, not sure, but they ended up with just this piece right here. And here was the access through this neighborhood. So we'll talk about that. All right. So they sold it off. They got $5 million for it. They were trying to get out of debt. Actually, Dave was the one going, we need to get out of debt, because they had accumulated a lot of debt. And so they had sold all of that property, 5 million, which was pretty good chunk of change.
Back in the
And
90s, yeah.
yeah, you bet. And a dozer operator who started on the new development, so they were blading it and getting everything ready for the houses and the schools and all that. He stated that at all times he would see undesirable people driving through the new development to go to the pig farm looking for Robert in order to sell things. So there's like these just barrage of people in and out of this nasty place. And he's like, oh, yeah. Okay, so 1999, 2 women disappeared. Like, more women, but these 2, Brenda Wolf and Georgina Papin. And a woman who had brought her children to the farm to ride horses said she had seen these 2 women at the Pickton's trailer in 1999. So there's the connection the police were looking for all this time. They never had a connection, but now this gal's like, wait a minute. These 2 women, I saw these women. They were at the pig farm. And so now there's an official investigation kicks off. All right. So they continued they revamped the investigation, and now they're looking at the Pickton farm. And earlier in 2002, a person who had been that was formerly addicted to drugs said that they used to get a lot of stuff at the Pickton farm, and they alerted the police that there were firearms being bought and sold off the farm. Totally illegal, especially in Canada. This is not, you can't do that. Canada's got really ratcheted gun laws.
Idaho, or not Idaho, but the United States is actually one of the only countries that has like the least amount of gun laws, restrictions on them.
Right. Well, yeah, 2-way. Woohoo. So, but anyway, so this now piqued their interest, because now they've had somebody say, look, wait a minute, these 2 women that are missing, I saw them over there, and now they have illegal firearms being sold. So now they're like, okay. They raided the farm. They didn't find any weapons, but what they did find was apparently a woman named Serena Abbotsway. She was a prostitute in Vancouver who had gone missing, and she had asthma and her inhaler with her name on it, which is interesting to me because my inhalers don't have my name.
Yeah,
but apparently her inhaler had her name on it. Maybe they put something in Canada on the inhaler with the name of the person. They found her inhaler there, and they went, oh, really? Interesting. Why is this inhaler here? And that led to a larger investigation. So, so they go and they get a warrant for more than just firearms. They come back and they found body parts, lots and lots of body parts. Okay.
Oh.
Heads, hands, and feet of 2 or more women in the freezer of Robert.
In the freezer?
In the freezer.
Okay.
And then a whole bunch of other body parts in other freezers that were DNA matched to a lot of the missing women in Vancouver. They then started digging and sifting. And the Google image that was blocked out, that's fuzzy, that you can't see part of the farm, that's where they had a giant piece of machinery in there that was sifting through soil. It was a big sifter to look for parts and skeletal remains. And that's where the sifter was located based on magazine or newspaper articles that I was looking at. That's kind of where that was placed. So when they flew over the farm, they probably saw that and went, oh, we better blur that out.
Yeah.
They found the remains of 26 victims on the farm. And the remains of a 27th victim was found but never identified. So they were able to identify.
Oh, that's sad.
I know. Murder charges were then levied against Robert for each of the identified victims. How Dave never got pulled into any of this, I don't know. But the
Yeah.
investigation must have cleared him. I mean, he was doing a lot of illegal stuff elsewhere.
Or did he flop on his brother?
Maybe. I don't know. I didn't have
Yeah.
enough information. So this was thankfully DNA became a thing. I think was it 1998, 96 when they figured out DNA, right?
Yeah.
And so this was 2002, and they were able to do a lot of DNA, and they found DNA everywhere. I mean, this guy obviously didn't think that he'd ever be found out because he never cleaned up after himself. He never cleaned the trailer. He never disposed of their clothing, anything. It was all there. So he found DNA and fingerprints matching a woman named Andrea Joesbury, Diana Taylor, Brenda Wolf's jacket, a black shirt with DNA matching Serena Abbotsway, night vision goggles with DNA matching Pat Casanova, a rosary that belonged to a gal named Mona Wilson, garment bag with DNA on it from Monique Wood, beer bottles with DNA from Nancy Plasman, and it just went on and on and on. He didn't get rid of anything. I don't know if these were his trophies or if he was just literally.
Even beer bottles, like, did they not throw things away?
No, apparently not. Like I saw
Ew.
pictures of it, and I can't show you guys the pictures because of copyright, but you can go, if you go to newspapers and you look up this, I mean, they'll show, there's just piles and piles of trash.
I'm like, I'm going to have to go look.
You're going to have to look. It is so disgusting. And if you can't find them, I have the articles saved, Trista. So it was really overwhelming. It took them a long, long time to sift through the whole property, to find all of the materials, to find things to DNA. Hey, sorry. I have a dog trying to sneak my cat food. To find all of the, it was just overwhelming. It took them literally years to go through this property. Was not brought.
Crazy.
Yeah, he didn't go to trial in 2000 till 2007, and it was 2002 that they arrested him. It took him that long. I mean, they started charging him, and then more charges had come. Yeah,
like that's just insane.
Yeah. So on December, okay, so he goes to trial. And of course, the prosecutors, I can't even imagine, like, we watch some of these trials, like the Lori Daybell trial and all this stuff. We watch all of this. We watch because we're into this stuff. But to be personally involved, like the prosecutor, and have to present this case, it must take a part of your soul, because these are women.
I think so.
You know what I'm saying? They're doing
that's someone's sister, that's a daughter, that's a friend, an aunt. Like, there's always a connection somewhere.
Yeah. And a lot of these women were Indigenous women. And so there's pictures on several websites. If you go to and research this, you see a lot of the family members holding up signs. And there's one of all of the missing women from this area. It's just like, oh my God, you look at this and it's like this giant cardboard with little tiny like passport photos of all of the missing women. And it's just like, oh my God. Yeah. I mean, could he be responsible for all of them? I don't know.
It kind of makes you wonder, though, because I guess like this, my question on that would be like, how many women after they caught him still went missing?
Yeah, I don't know.
We'll have to figure that out and let you guys know. We'll have to research that.
We should. Well, these were, I think, I want to say that I read up to 100 by the time he was arrested had gone missing. So I don't know how many after that, because I'm sure that he was kept without bail. I mean,
Oh yeah.
I'm sure at this point
Yeah.
they're like, nope, you're not bailing
Yep.
out. But this isn't even the most. I cut out so much of the gruesome stuff, guys, because YouTube. I don't want to get in trouble with YouTube. It was so bad. It was so bad. And one of the things that he did, that I will tell you that he did, that some of the parts went into sausage with pig meat. Yeah.
Nuh-uh.
Yeah. I can't even describe, and that is bad.
Mm.
That's not the worst part of what this man was doing to these women. I can't go there on YouTube. They will kick us out. So
I mean,
it
if you
is
think,
so,
wow,
yeah. Yeah,
that's
and they sold
intense.
that. They sold that meat to customers in the area. So people didn't know. People
That
didn't
they were
know.
just, yeah.
You think you're buying pork sausage. Well, part of it
Nope.
is. Yeah. Um, so they think there was at least 2 of his victims that happened to, if not more, but at least 2. They just don't have enough evidence to support that it was more than that. About a year after his trial began, he was convicted on 6 counts of second-degree murder and sentenced to life in prison. And then, so he was charged on 20, I think 27 of these women. But like I said, there was a lot of women, and they don't know if they just don't know. I mean, I think about, did he
Here's my question, I guess, on that.
put them in the
Because they
harbor?
didn't sell the pigs until the 90s, right?
Yeah.
So how many of them disappeared
Well,
completely?
how exactly? Because pigs will consume the whole body. The
Yep.
other thing that I'm wondering about was the barrels that he was sending to the rendering plant,
Oh, yeah.
because they don't necessarily look in the barrels. You just open them and they get dumped into these big vats. I used to inspect rendering plants. It's the nastiest thing ever.
I'm
You
like,
don't necessarily inspect the product going in. They just gets dumped into a vat. So if
ew.
they were being dismembered, how many women went into the rendering plant?
Yeah.
So, I mean, he could be responsible for all of them. I don't know. So you
I
have
mean,
the
we'll give
pigs
the
that are
take, or like the ones that probably ventured off somewhere else and then something happened somewhere else and family never heard. But I don't know. Something tells me he was responsible for quite
a
a
lot,
lot.
like most of them.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so he was attacked. And this is, I'm sorry, but this is awesome. In 2024, he was attacked and imprisoned by another inmate named Martin Sheary. And on May 31st, Robert died from his injuries from the attack. And
Oh.
Sheary said he did it for the victims. It just made him sick. He couldn't stand it anymore. So he took this guy out. There was a film made on this called On the Farm in 2016, if anybody wants to look that up. And
Where,
huh?
what platform is that on?
I really don't know. It was just a 2016 film called On the Farm. Let me see if I see anything else in this article on it. Yeah, I don't know. He so I do want to actually watch that movie to see if they come up with any of the things we're talking about. Like, did some of the ladies disappear in the pig pens? Did some of the ladies disappear at the rendering plant? Yeah, he did. I don't know when he started luring people to the farm. I don't know if he was luring them the whole time. I don't know if some of the women were made to disappear in his vehicle. I don't know. It's just hard to say. He
Mm.
actually he was during the trial and every. I guess they got him for trying to intimidate witnesses. There was all kinds of stuff. This guy, when you see him in the newspaper, you're like, "Yep, looks like a guy who would do this." I mean, So,
Sorry, my camera accidentally hit my camera off.
okay.
Sorry, guys.
Yeah. So, anyway, that's the story of probably the most infamous serial killer in Canada. I'm not sure
I
that,
can't
I mean,
believe 20 plus years and he got away with it
I know.
for that long.
Well, yeah. So we watch a lot of true crime and
Mm-hmm.
they always say that stranger on stranger crime is the hardest to solve because there's right. I mean, it's hard to
Yeah,
solve. You would think, though, this guy had been down there so many times picking up girls that he'd stand out, but maybe he was using different vehicles. Maybe,
I was just thinking that with
yeah,
all the type of people that he was running around with. I mean, and if some people think back the 70s, late 70s to that time frame, that was like the era of all the crazy drugs and the crazy lifestyles that were going on outside of, your normal Monday through Friday, 8 to 5 people
yeah.
that maybe he was, hey, I'm going to borrow your vehicle and go run down here real quick.
The gal that said that she brought her kids over to the farm to ride the horses, she really liked him. I mean, she said she'd hang around the barn sometimes 5 or 6 hours while the kids were riding and chat him up. And she said he was just always polite, soft spoken, really nice. He actually he wanted to marry her. And she's like, no, it's okay. um, and and the police detective said that even after all of the aggressive questioning, that he was always polite and nice. He never lost his cool. That's probably another reason why he was never really looked at hard. He didn't fall into that stereotypical,
Yeah,
mm,
that
I
makes
mean, he was,
sense.
yeah. Yeah, it's kind of interesting. I, Yeah, the girl Tanya who said that she called him uncle. When she moved in the trailer, she actually moved into his bedroom, but he slept on the floor. She said he never touched her. He was always polite. Well, she got lucky, huh? Um,
Yeah,
and she said she'd known him all her life and he was always really, really nice and treated her well. And she was also very clear during the trial. She said if she saw something that she didn't like about one of his behaviors, she would tell him, which was kind of unusual for a young girl to do. But she'd tell him, I
yeah,
don't like that. And he would go, oh, I'm sorry. And he would change his way. Like he would not do it anymore. So it was almost this like dual.
that's a true psychopath right there.
Yeah.
In a sense, like if you think about it, yeah, because someone who can maintain his composure so well that someone can come up to you and be like, hey, I didn't really like how you did that. So then they change that to make sure that that person is so comfortable to keep the normalcy, to not draw any attention to yourself.
True. So he did pick up some prostitutes and bring them back to the farm, and they did their thing, and he would drive them back. And other gals said they stayed overnight and that he never touched them for whatever reason, and he would still pay him $50 and he'd take them back. So I don't understand the switch. Like, what would cause him to, was it they mouthed off? And he didn't like, I don't know. It's not
Yeah,
like they did something, but in his mind, I wonder what he perceived of the women that he did kill. What flipped that switch for him? Because he seemed like he was kind of polite and socially awkward, and to a lot of women, he wasn't violent at all.
that's crazy.
Yeah, I don't know. The more you read on
That
this,
would
the
have been
more
a
like,
mind. I would have loved to dig into. Just of like why? Like what happened? Where was the snap? Where was the click that all of a sudden you can do this to this one, but then the next night go get a different one and they can just come sleep at your house and have no problem. And you're so, quaint. And
Maybe it
I,
was women who were just really passive and they didn't pose any kind of threat to him. He let them go. I don't know. I don't know. Or maybe it's the reverse. I don't know. They had 128 witnesses at this trial.
holy
Can you
cow.
imagine? Yeah,
I wonder how
jury
many days that went on for.
instructions took 4 days. Yeah, that would just make your head spin right
And like
there.
we have watched a lot of criminal stuff, like you said, Lori Daybell, all that. 4 days.
Yeah.
That's intense.
So
Like those poor jurors. Before you even get into the trial, you got to go through all this. Like, that's insane.
yeah, the jury heard from 90 prosecution witnesses, 28 defense witnesses. So 100 and yeah,
Honestly, why would
118.
you even take it to trial? Like,
Well, if he doesn't plead guilty, then they have to.
yeah, I mean, like, but at that point, dude, they caught this much stuff. Like, they have body parts. They have,
I don't know what the Canadian law is like. They don't have the US
yeah, true.
Constitution. I'm not sure what their laws are like. Um, yeah, I don't know. It's pretty interesting because for every outrageous crime, there seemed to be somebody else that said he's the nicest guy. Like he would never do this. So I don't know. Did he have a? It would be interesting, like you said, to dig into his mind, and I wonder if any psychologists out there, psychiatrists, did interview him and profile him and dive into him because was he a split
That just,
personality?
yeah. I was just thinking, have you seen that one show where the guy's like got multiple personalities and he kidnaps the girls and he's like, it was Patricia. Have you seen? Oh, I'll have to send it to you.
No.
It is so good. Cause it makes me think of that, like that multiple personality that like, okay, this woman got this personality on this day. Unfortunately, this one got the psycho one on this day.
Ugh. Can you
Oh,
imagine? Yeah. Anyway, I thought this was just a kind of a fascinating case. The length of time, and then the amount of potential victims. Like I said, they charged him for I think 27. He got convicted, I think, on 7. There's a whole lot of women out there that probably are tied to this. He may have had a different dumping ground somewhere else. He may have put him in the port. I mean, he was right on the water. He could have done anything. I think, like you said, they went into the pigs or they went to the rendering plant, and
yep.
that was that.
I mean,
Because the rendering plant takes everything. They
yep.
literally
And
take everything. So
pigs will eat everything but your teeth and nails.
yeah. So
I mean, can you? Because then you think about the people up there that bought it. That's
yeah.
just 20 years. I mean, I don't think Bundy got away with it for that long.
God, how long was Bundy? It was a long time.
Was it?
How I don't know. I don't know.
We're all both looking it
Let
up,
me
Bundy.
figure it out. It said only 4 years.
Yeah. So I mean, that's
Wow.
the crazy part. You think about that, like Ted Bundy, only 4 years before someone finally
And he
something happened
confessed
that
it.
he got caught.
Uh-huh. Yeah, it seemed like Bundy went on forever, but I think it was just in the news forever. Yeah, 4
Oh
years.
yeah.
First murder in 74, the final in 78 in Florida. Yeah, I don't know. I think this guy, because Bundy confessed at 30. I bet Robert has 50 plus.
Yeah, I'm like plus.
Yeah.
I'm
So
yeah.
anyway,
That's
fascinating
just
case
crazy.
of a mind gone completely bonkers wrong. And I feel
But then
so
still
bad
be
for
able
all
to
these women.
maintain normalcy.
Yeah.
That's the crazy part.
Yeah, he wasn't living alone in an apartment. He was on a farm surrounded by other people. They were doing this whole nightclub thing in the middle of all of this. He's still very much a part of the farm, and whatever scrapping and they might have been doing with scrap metal and the weirdness going on at that place. It's not like he was a loner out in the woods and no one ever saw him.
Yeah. So it's really crazy to me that that amount of time to hold your composure for that amount of time. That's crazy. And like you were going to say, and I accidentally cut you off, but the families, my heart goes out to them, the women, their families. I mean, the
No, I can't even.
unknown, then, yeah,
Yeah, unknown and known. I mean, they to know that they met such a horrific end, and then the women, the families of those women who they don't know, they're
yeah.
guessing. So the whole property was bulldozed, and now it is. Oh, let me take you back. I was going to show it to you. Now it is a like a park, which is good. Um,
I would not
okay.
probably want to hang out there at night.
No, so this was right here. Where am I? Right here was right after he was arrested. And then as you go through the years, you can see some not much change there. They started getting rid of buildings. 2004, not much changes. More buildings gone. Jump ahead. Now it looks different completely.
Mm-hmm.
2015. Let's go to 2017. Oops. And let's jump ahead to 2025. Now it's a park with
Wow.
trees. So it looks like somebody bought this portion of it, of the house maybe here, which I don't know that I could have done, but maybe they didn't know the history. I don't know.
Yeah, I couldn't. I don't even know if I'd want to go play in the park there. Because here's my next question too. With where they sold that the development property, they didn't sell that to what, the 90s?
Yeah, there could be well, but a lot of that was bulldozed and everything else to make the school.
But if you think about it, if it went with the one theory,
Uh-huh.
then there would be nothing out there anyways. Because unless just someone's out there swiping it for looking for nails, teeth, things like that, you're not
Yeah,
going to
it's
find
true.
that.
No, you're not going to find it. Nope. Nope.
So it
Very
makes you
well could have
wonder. I
been
mean,
that portion up on the north end that he did stuff on as well. I don't know. I don't know.
it's just crazy. I would not want to play in that park though at night.
No, I
No.
can't imagine the amount of paranormal activity that's going on there in that whole area now, with all those
Yeah.
souls just so angry and wanting vengeance and everything else. That would be hard.
Because
And
then
it's
you
hard.
also think about it too. Okay, the type of people, and okay, mind you guys, I grew up in a lifestyle that was quite different from everybody else's. That how many of those people brought people in to dispose of too?
Oh God. Oh, I hadn't even thought about that. They said
Sorry.
that what 4 because like I said, I'm scared of my pigs. I'm scared of them to a point. I mean, I'll walk in there with a shovel if I have to and bop them on the nose just to so I can be in there safely. But um they said that 4 because I've researched this because I want to know how long it's going to take for them to devour me. 4 hogs can devour a human body within 15 minutes,
Well, there's
bones
a
and all.
statistic I didn't know in my life.
I know. See, I looked this kind of
I'm
creepy
not.
stuff up because I'm so scared of them, even though I raised them. And the breed I'm getting next year is kind of aggressive. So I've got to kind of reconfigure my pens so I can go in there safely to clean and swap them with the gate and the
Yeah.
metal so that I can, you know what I'm saying? Because, yeah, because I
Because
need I
wow.
need a bigger pig to raise for meat than what I have been. And yeah, but that big
15
comes
minutes.
aggressive. Yeah.
So then, yeah, it truly makes me wonder how many of those people needed to dispose of somebody.
That was one of the mob's way of getting rid of people.
So,
My
I mean, it makes you wonder how many souls are actually out there just lost and trapped.
Yep. Yep. My heart goes out to the victims, to
Mhm.
their families. I can't even imagine the pain that you guys have dealt
No.
with all these years. Um, I hope the fact that he met his undoing may have brought you a little comfort, although you probably didn't. But I think I would have been cheering on that day had I been involved in any of this. So
Yes.
I
And
hope
right
that you
on to
guys.
the Sally who did it.
Yeah, I know, right? He needs a medal.
Good job. He does.
Anyway, that's the story of Robert Pickton. And I hope you can sleep well after this. All right,
Yeah.
guys. We'll bring you another gruesome story on our next recording. Until then,
Yes.
signing off.
Bye, everyone. See
Oh,
ya.
and YouTube thinks that you're probably going to like this next video. Until then, bye-bye.
Bye.